especially this country, that a black man is getting a standing, loving ovation from in the Deep South from a pretty much white audience. It was a great, important moment, and I'm glad I saw it. The saddest moment. My greatest contribution to the Dodgers in my 67 years, my contribution occurred in 1988. And as soon as I say 88, I hear, whoa. And it's game one, and the Dodgers are losing in the ninth inning, as it usually always is. I hope they get over that. And we're in the ninth inning, and we go to commercial. And so I got thinking, very dangerous. And I got thinking. So I said to the director, when we come out of the commercial, follow me. Now, normally you don't say that because they're on the phone to New York, what's following the program back in the West and the Eastern and the Chicago, Western, whatever. But they said, okay. So we came out of commercial, and the big blimp is over Dodger Stadium, taking that look down. And I said, if you were here with us tonight, you would take your field glasses and look in the Dodger dugout. Wham! Up came the picture of the dugout. And the camera slowly panned the dugout. And I never said a word, which was a good thing. And I finally said, well, obviously, Kirk Gibson is not in the dugout, and he will not play tonight. In the clubhouse, sitting on a trainer's table with two huge bags of ice on his legs, and all alone, he's watching what's going on television. And it struck a nerve. And he said, fertilizer, Scully, or a reasonable facsimile. Anyway, he came up, and the rest is history. But I felt that getting his fanny off that rubbing table was the greatest contribution. Now, bless Jimmy's heart, terrific guy. He did an incredible job. Another thoughtful home run, and I mean this, it really gave me a thought. The 1963 World Series, and I had the privilege and pleasure of doing it with Mel Allen, the voice of the Yankees. Yes, deserves your applause. Wonderful, wonderful. Mel, as so often happens, it's a hazard for the job. In September, he came up with almost laryngitis. And the throat surgeon said to Mel, who had that great home run call, said, Mel, if you're going to work in a series, you're going to have to tone everything down until we get to the series. So throughout September, Mel kept the voice down, easy on the timbre, everything is fine. And now we begin the series, and the Dodgers won the first two games in New York, and his voice is a little, but still it's good. By the time we come out to Dodger Stadium, game 3, the Dodgers win again. So now the Dodgers have won 3, and Mel is trying to keep his voice subdued. And baseball fans are amazing. In New York, they thought that Mel was just down, that they had lost 3 in a row. Not that he possibly could have had a sore throat. And now, 4th, and turns out to be the final game at Yankee Stadium, 7th inning. Mel is on the air, and I would be sent down to the clubhouse if the Dodgers won for post-game interviews. It's the 7th inning, and Koufax is pitching, and Mickey Mantle comes up to hit, and Mantle hits a game-tying home run. And Mel, by this time, is bursting to give his great call. And in a loud voice, he said, going, going, gone. And when he said gone, everything came out. Wires, nut bolts, everything. And Unfortunately, he could barely speak again, but he wanted to try. And Tom Gallery, who was then the head of NBC Sports, tapped him on the shoulder and pointed, "Give it to the kid." And he had to do that. And after it was over, Dodgers had won 4 in a row, everyone was ecstatic. But I kept thinking to myself, there, but for the grace of God, go I. It could easily have been me coming apart on a home run instead of Mel. So of all the thousands of home runs I've ever heard, that one touched me deeply. And then, of course, there was, if you believe in miracles, and even if you don't, and I know we see some young people here, when I was in high school, I was sitting in the back row of the auditorium with the best athlete on campus named Larry Miggins. And he said, "What would you like to be when you got out of school?" I said, "Oh, you know, I'd love to be a baseball announcer. I wonder what the odds are of doing that." And Larry said, "How about me? I'd love to be a major league ball player." I said, "Wow, I wonder what the odds. How about this? How about I make it as the announcer, you make it as a ball player? What do you think?" "Oh, the odds are, you know, astronomical." I said, "I'll tell you one more dream. How about I'm the broadcaster, you're the ball player, and I broadcast the game you're playing in. What are the odds on that?" "Oh, well, can't count. Millions and millions to one." I guess it was about my 3rd year doing the Dodger games in Brooklyn, and the St. Louis Cardinals came to town. And not only was Larry Miggins on the team, he was playing that day, playing shortstop. Now, we had a great booth, Red Barber, Connie Desmond, myself. In that booth, Red was the father, Connie was the older brother, and I was the kid. So they allowed me to do an inning or two every now and then. If the inner tide was rising and one of them had to leave, I was the true water boy in many ways. Anyway, they had programmed me to do an inning, and as the game evolved, who's coming up for the Cardinals, top of the inning, that I'm going to broadcast. First man makes out. Here comes Larry Miggins, my pal from high school, against a left-hander with the Dodgers named Preacher Rowe from Ash Flats, Arkansas. And to speed it up, I'm broadcasting Larry, and as God is my judge, Miggins hit a home run. It was the hardest home run I've ever in my life called. I fought myself from crying, really. I watched him run around, I was overwhelmed. I mean, I don't know what the odds would be, but that, without a doubt, is the most memorable home run.